What is going on, guys? Jack here and welcome back to another Dirty Bomb video, and today I want to talk about the news that Splash Damage announced last week that Execution was to be removed from Dirty Bomb on the 22nd of August 2017. Now in this video I want to talk about my reaction to it, the community's reaction to this announcement. I'm not going to go into too much detail with Execution. Of course, Execution came out in October 2015 and there are a few videos on my channel which are over 2 years old at this point that talk about my general thoughts on the game mode. And to be honest, it was always a bit of a mixed reaction as far as I was concerned. I could understand why Execution was being added, but I was very, cautious and kind of apprehensive that it was actually going to be successful in that regard. If you want to check out those videos that I mentioned, I'll link them in the description. I feel like in hindsight, they might be kind of interesting to watch back and see, was my opinions during the early access, during the beta weekends of Execution, was I right? Was I wrong? I feel like I was right on some things, but on other things, I was wrong, and one of the main reasons I think that Execution is being removed by Splash Damage simply is that it wasn't bringing in new players. That was one of the things which I said in my video. I said I understood why Execution was being added. You know, Dirty Bomb, it stands on its own two legs with Objective and Stopwatch, but Execution and the idea of single life game modes was very, very hot in 2015. Of course, Counter-Strike was doing well. You could argue since Counter-Strike and between kind of then and now, Rainbow Six Siege has also entered that fray and kind of become a game that really dominates that space. And unfortunately, Execution just never really picked up enough steam and enough popularity, I feel like, from kind of people outside of the normal player group that play Dirty Bomb. It was revealed in the blog post with regards to Execution being removed that just 5% of players' time in-game was being spent in Execution. And of course, you've got to consider on top of that, people are playing Execution once a day for the daily play bonuses. So that's just another reason why I imagine that number is even a little bit more bloated than it would be, you know, in reality. So I do feel like generally the community reception has been very positive. I do want to immediately hold up my hand and say I understand that some people are very upset about this. There is a core fan base of Execution players who only play Execution. That is why they play Dirty Bomb. And I kind of empathise with them in the sense it might feel a little bit like they're being burned. Now, of course, there are some community servers that already exist. DBN have some community servers. I know TAW have some, so do OCB. And I do wonder if down the line we might see custom servers where people can set up Execution to play with their friends on private servers. But fundamentally, I feel like the real focus of Dirty Bomb has to be on Objective and Stopwatch. Execution, for 5% of the people playing it, I imagine to maintain that game mode, to add new content to it, it's going to hog up resources. Of course, we did get Gallery added last year, but with the exception of that, there really hasn't been that much added to the game mode over the last kind of period of time. And the issue is, and I kind of can understand this a little bit because I worked in game testing for a period of time, that every time you release a new version of your game, a new update, you have to test the majority of the game, or at least most of it. And the issue is that with every update with Dirty Bomb, and let's be honest, right now we are getting updates for Dirty Bomb thick and fast, I imagine there is a degree of testing that has to go into Execution. And because so few people play Execution, but because it has to be tested, it just eats up a lot of resources that could be better used elsewhere, and perhaps mean that we get more updates more frequently, or that the game and the core of the game outside of Execution can be more polished. And as far as I'm concerned, that can only be a good thing. I do feel like Execution was always a little bit of an experiment. It was an idea to see, can we get people who play stuff like Counter-Strike and get them to give this game a chance? And I think the issue fundamentally is Dirty Bomb was never designed with Execution in mind. The abilities were never balanced with Execution in mind. And the other thing is, if I'm someone who enjoys Counter-Strike and the single life game mode gameplay, why would I leave Counter-Strike to go and play Execution in Dirty Bomb when there's already a game that does it as well, if not better? And I feel like that's where the whole thing kind of came undone, if I'm being completely honest. But anyway, I never feel like Execution was going to change from this point. I want to feel like Gallery was a test to see, can we get more people playing it? As we know, there weren't a lot of people playing it. I do think that in condensing the gameplay experience to Stopwatch and Objective, that should hopefully focus the game a lot more. And I do feel like Execution doesn't really best display what Dirty Bomb does well. And Objective and Stopwatch really, they allow Dirty Bomb to shine at its best. They allow it to stand on its own 2 feet as a game that really stands out amongst the crowd. Whereas if you kind of, I guess, focus on Execution too much, it quickly begins to blend in with the likes of Counter-Strike, the likes of Rainbow Six Vegas, as I already mentioned. So I do understand the decision from that regard. All in all, I'm a little bit sad about Execution going. I imagine a lot of effort went into getting Execution out there. A lot of development time went into it. It was kind of an experiment which never really worked for DirtyBomb. I never felt like it clicked perfectly for the game. It always felt like it was a little bit shoehorned in the hope it could gander some popularity. And fundamentally, I feel like the resources that Execution required to be maintained are a little bit of a problem. Who knows? I'd love to see down the line community servers sprout up where you can play Execution with your friends. Maybe that's something we could look forward to at some point in the future. But right now I feel like DirtyBomb is in a big kind of revitalization stage, and I think fundamentally you really have to focus on the core of the game and what, as I already stressed and will stress again, makes DirtyBomb stand out, which is its great gunplay, the unique objective style of maps, and just the all-in-all kind of gameplay experience that Objective and Stopwatch provide. Anyway, I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments. I understand this is a very passionate subject for some people who really like Execution, who are going to be bitterly disappointed to see it go. I completely understand where you're coming from if you are someone who feels a little bit burnt by splash damage on the whole thing. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this video from me. Let me know what you make of the revelation that Execution's being removed. Are you upset about it? Are you going to miss the 500 credits daily? Were you someone who genuinely played Execution and enjoyed it? Would you play it if it was on community servers? I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments. And yeah, that's going to be all from me. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Go check out the other videos I did 2 years ago on Execution. You might be able to kind of laugh at some of the stuff I said in hindsight. And yeah, that's going to be all from me. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.